We're going to let some people get in as we always do, but it is good to have you guys joining us on a Tuesday night. And, you know, to just talk personally for a second, on Sunday during the football game, I ordered pizza and wings from this place on Uber Eats that was recommended to me. It had 10 wings, a large pizza, and a 2 liter for $20. I was like, oh, that's a really good deal. I'm usually spending like $20 just for a pizza. It was not a good deal, man. I was not feeling well at all yesterday. Hello, guys. Hello. How are you guys? And wow, that was rough. So if you see a deal that's too good to be true when you're talking about food, it probably is. All right, that's a story for another time. Let's get into the news. I hope everyone is having a good day. Everyone watching YouTube, Facebook, whatever you're watching YouTube, please like the video. It helps me out a lot. All right, let's get into today's first story, which is the Buffalo Fire Department. So at today's civil service meeting in Buffalo, something interesting was talked about, something I think many of us take for granted, and it's our fire department here in Buffalo, New York, and there's a few issues. The first issue that was brought up has actually been talked about before. And it's allegations that the fire commissioner was not living in the city of Buffalo, which actually is a requirement that is stated in the city charter. In 2018, when the commissioner was hired, he was originally given 6 months to relocate to the city of Buffalo, which apparently he has finally done. But in 2019, he voted in Tonawanda, and he still owned a house in Tonawanda, which is an issue because I think voting is one of those things that, yeah, that's a residency thing. And if we'll just keep going. Now, it is perfectly legal to own multiple houses, as stated in previous Common Council meetings about this. However, docile residents must be in the city of Buffalo. And if someone is voting in another town or city, that does not mean they are keeping docile residents in the city of Buffalo. Or at the very least, it means they're committing voter fraud, which is actually a whole separate issue in itself that, I don't really want to talk about because I don't have the commissioner to speak up for himself here. But so either way, it should be subject to an investigation. The other issue that was made apparent was the fact that the city doesn't enforce its own rules, nor does the council member seem to know whose job it is to investigate these issues. The issue was also brought up with the condition of the firehouses. Now, multiple firehouses have broken kitchens and bathrooms. There was one firehouse, I believe it's Engine 28 in Lovejoy, that has gone without a washer and dryer, they said, since the beginning of the year. Guys, like these are people we depend on. Fire investigators don't have their fully functioning showers and that, and like they're going in investigating fires, and they're coming, and they have to go to their own house to take showers and covered in soot and all that. So like these are serious things that need to be taken care of. Serious things that need to be taken care of when we're talking about our fire department. We need our fire department, guys. I mean, it's all fine and good until there's a fire at your house. We need to take care of these guys. And 6 days ago, Phil Ryan, the fire department lieutenant, actually wrote a letter to the Buffalo News. I'm going to share that onto my Facebook as soon as I end this. So if you're on my Facebook, look out for that. All right. The second thing I want to get into is a slew of tweets Trump sent out yesterday. And I normally, I don't talk about Donald Trump a whole lot, but he sent out a slew of tweets early yesterday morning. And I wanted to focus on one tweet in particular here because there's something that bothers me about Trump, and it's not what a lot of people would think would bother me about Trump. What bothers a lot of people. Trump tweets as if he's this great protector of the Second Amendment. He tweeted to protect the Second Amendment and to vote, right? He tries to play himself as this defender of the Second Amendment, but his record on the Second Amendment is actually pretty shaky. And this is something that I hear his supporters talk about a lot, and this is something I bring up to them a lot. Just one example is in 2013, when Trump claimed on Twitter, this is a direct tweet, big Second Amendment believer, but background checks to weed out the sickos are fine. But on many times since then, especially since becoming president, he has actually spoke against background checks, which I guess is fine, but he's kind of contradicting himself there. And most recently in 2019, when the House passed universal background checks, he vetoed that bill. Then a second example, and for time's sake, we're only going to use these two examples. We're not. I could literally go on for this for hours. I don't want to be that guy and go on about this for hours, right? All right. In a 2018 meeting with lawmakers, Donald Trump said this, and it's another direct quote from Donald Trump. I like taking the guns early. Like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida, he had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first. Go through due process second. So there is Donald Trump right there saying to take away people's guns without due process. And I get like there's a context in there where they're talking about a guy who shot somebody, but it's still like due process is a guaranteed right in America. And that to me is a problem in itself, right? But and I know that's a weird thing to critique Trump on, but that is just one of the things I wanted to point out that the mainstream media does not focus on. All right, the unions representing Buffalo police officers, Buffalo firefighters, and the town of Tonawanda police officers that argued against the release of records of unsustainable or pending accusations would be a violation of constitutional rights. So, I'm sorry, I never introduced the next story. I am so sorry. My bad. It's been a few days. All right, so my next story here is the repeal of 50A being upheld. The unions for the Buffalo police officers, Buffalo firefighters, and town Tonawanda police argued that allowing the release of these records, some of them apparently they're saying are unsubstantiated claims or pending accusations, would be a violation of their constitutional rights. However, Sedita, in upholding the repeal of 50A, determined that previously enacted Freedom of Information law reforms allow the police and fire records in question to be released. So this is actually a good thing. So with the repeal of 50A standing, with Sedita holding that up, that means that we can file Freedom of Information Act FOIL requests to get the records of firefighters, law enforcement officers, or whatever. And this is a good thing as far as transparency goes, because again, I've said this before, but we should know who we're paying paychecks to, and we should have access to their disciplinary records. So I think that's actually a good thing. And I know there's people that aren't for it and that whatever, but this is a good thing as far as transparency goes and knowing what's going on with the people who we pay paychecks to. All right, now let's get into our next story here. Facebook has banned a bunch of accounts, QAnon accounts specifically. And they've also had some other issues where they have limited rights to certain Facebook groups. We'll get into that first, but let's focus on QAnon right now and focus on this. Facebook said today that it is banning all QAnon accounts from its platform, a significant escalation over its previous actions and one over broadcast rules the social media giant has put its place in history. So Facebook's it's yanked down all QAnon pages, right? Facebook said the changes in update policy and created in August that initially only removed accounts related to QAnon conspiracy theories that discussed violence, which resulted in termination of 1,500 pages. The company spokesperson said the enforcement, which started today, will bring it'll bring to light what we've been doing in other pieces of policy in regard to militarized social media movements such as militia and terror groups. So Facebook's basically linked QAnon in with militia and terror group, which again I think QAnon is dangerous, and I've said this before. I have no issue with talking about child trafficking and stuff like that. And these are issues that need to be addressed. The issue with QAnon is the amount of false information that gets put in there. And they do it with that child trafficking too. They litter it with false information. And that's kind of the issue. So when you're talking about QAnon, it's hard to separate reality from falsehoods when you're talking about their information. And that has been the big problem with QAnon. Now, QAnon is not new. It's new to like the mainstream, but it's not new. QAnon's been around for a while, and it has latched on, and it had a movement a while ago that I called out, the just trust Sessions. They were just trusting Jeff Sessions. Well, he got canned, and I thought that was going to be the end of QAnon, and I was wrong. And I'm waiting for that Facebook post to hit a year or two old so I could share it in my memories, because I really thought that was going to be the end of QAnon, and it wasn't. All right, another thing that has happened with getting rid of these QAnon pages, and this has happened in a couple of Facebook groups I'm in. So I don't know. This isn't necessarily a huge deal, but it's just something I've noticed. And a number of the groups I'm in, and the Facebook comment that we used to be able to post just free whatever you want. Now they're making admins approve all the posts, and it used to be like that in some groups. Now it seems to be like that in almost every group, even the ones where you were able just to post freely. So I think that might be an attempt to stop the spread of false information, but I'm not sure. It's just something I've noticed, guys, and something I wanted to bring to your attention in case you notice it. All right, so now let's get into another story here. Officials in Kazakhstan today nullified the results of the weekend's preliminary election after mass protest erupted in the capital of Bangshek and other cities, with opposition supporters seizing government buildings overnight and demanding a new vote. Hundreds were injured. One person died in the protest overnight. The president said the country was facing a coup after protests escalated. Many say the election was riddled with vote bullying. Opposition groups say they have successfully occupied government buildings, and demonstrators have taken control of parliament, freed political prisoners, and established leadership positions. They are demanding the country to hold new re-elections. So there's a lot going on there. A lot. So they have taken over government buildings overnight. They have established their own leadership positions and even freed political prisoners after what they believe was a rigged election in Kazakhstan, which is on the border between Russia and China, if you don't know. It's not like a huge country or anything. But yeah, it kind of does, Sandra. I can agree with that. It kind of does sound like America right now. And so they're going to hold a re-election, apparently, or something like that, I guess. Guys, it's just a mess. And politics and the whole world have been a mess, but man, it has definitely been something. And I think one of the big things when we're talking QAnon, no, these are just protesters in Kazakhstan. No, this isn't QAnon. And so when they're taking over these government buildings and that, they're doing a lot of, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. But people are getting to this point. We need to ask ourselves, what is getting people to this point of being so angry? This is what we need to ask ourselves with the Black Lives Matter protest, and this is what we need to ask ourselves with all of them. What is making people so angry? How can we fix it? How can we better take care of our people? Because until we do that, people are going to continue to get angry. We need to better take care of our people. Regardless of what country you live in, you need to take care of your people. You need to take care of your community, guys. That has been my message this whole time. Unity and community. Look, it's obvious we have a long way to go as a world, as a society, as whatever. We have a long way. These protests are just results of people being angry. The violence is results of people being angry. And until we address the problems that are making people angry, the problem won't go away. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. It is called Fast News for a reason. I'm feeling much better after that pizza the other day, but man, my stomach, that was not right. I would not, like I said, if you see a food deal that you think is too good to be true on Uber Eats or something, it probably is, and it's probably not worth ordering. That's my words of wisdom. You guys have a great night. Take care of yourselves. Hug your families. Do what you got to do. I'm going to go cuddle my cat and watch 2.5 Men go to bed. You guys have a great night. I'll see you guys later.